Welcome to Friday Leadership Live. Happy Friday, everyone. I am Monica Vegalam. I am an executive coach, more specifically, personal development and leadership development coach. This is the show where I explore topics at the intersection of leadership coaching, psychology, and Eastern spirituality. In the past, I dove into topics such as executive presence, handling emotions, and maybe goal setting. Did I do something on goal setting? I'm not sure. Uh, okay, let me quickly check if I am live and all my audio is fine. If there's anyone watching, comment please, and I can also answer questions as they come up. Okay, all right. Looks like things are fine. We have 3 attendees. That's awesome. Welcome. Thank you guys for hanging out. Okay, today I want to cover what kind of personal growth means in terms of leadership development and handling more complexity and more scope in life. Because as our goals get bigger, it becomes more complex to kind of achieve them. And I want to talk about what does it require from us to be able to achieve those complex goals. As this is especially applicable in leadership, but also in general in life, when we have goals that we haven't been able to consistently achieve, like a great relationship, or maybe you want to start a company, etc., etc. So what we'll cover today. Today, we'll talk about personal growth that is different from self improvement. And I want to provide a map for what that looks like. So, that map will have 3 levels of transformation. And this is drawn from my experience as a coach and from working with people, and also what I have learned from working with many spiritual, not many, 2 spiritual teachers from the Eastern Indian traditions, and mapping that to leadership development and training that I had. And I want to talk about a few caveats to that map also, because growth always doesn't mean that everything will be great, rainbows and unicorns. It doesn't guarantee happiness. Happiness is not the goal, freedom is the goal here. And there are costs associated with growth. It's not easy. Okay, let's start off. And I hope you got a good beverage, or you're having lunch as you're watching this. I'll be taking a sip of water, and I want to say that, I have been kind of MIA with these shows. I've been doing them for some time. I did a lot of them in last year, which 2023, but I'm starting now in February again, because I was kind of like trying to find, okay, I have all these skills and I'm helping people. Where does this all fit in? Where do my interests all fit in? And I feel like I have some newfound clarity that I want to share more, which we'll touch on today. So most people see personal growth as like, I need to become a better version of myself so that I achieve a particular goal. Right? It's fine and good. I can develop skills. Let's say I want to write, I want to publish these many articles. So I become a better writer, and then I become a person who sticks to a consistent schedule. So I need to improve myself. I need to constantly be in the mode of improving my skills, improving myself, improving my discipline, etc. It's fine, but there's a but. I think it misses the mark, because when, I don't know if you have noticed, When we like achieve a goal, right, there's like this high of achieving that goal, and then there is the next one, right? And then we end up in this hedonic treadmill, so to speak, where we just keep chasing the goal. And all the time that you're on that path of keeping chasing that goal, or constantly, like your mind space is completely occupied with it, uh, and with this idea that, okay, I'll be happy and I can do other things when I reach the finish line, right? And we all know that doesn't happen, because there's always the next thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing, before um, before we are able to sit and reflect. It's just like, I don't know. I don't want to talk about deathbed and all that, but you see where I'm going with this, right? I'll be happy when I do X, when I reach X. The fundamental problem with this is that the place that this comes from is a fundamental sense of lack. Like, I am lacking something right now, and that is why I need to become a better version of myself. What that does is that it differs your happiness, or it differs the experience you want to have of life to some other time. So most people kind of realize this, and then they do like the opposite. They take like big decisions, that are like, okay, I'll quit my job and pursue some other path. I'll quit my job, and I think like most coaches um, kind of reach a level of success, and they're like, I'm not happy with this success, and then quit and come into coaching. um, I didn't do that, by the way. I really wanted to be a coach, which kind of was triggered by other life events, but that's a story for another time. So can we like get more specific about what better means, right? Is it, can we combine happiness into the journey, um, or like reduce at least the suffering of what reaching a goal looks like, and that is available from, as per the Eastern spiritual traditions, right? Well, they don't talk about goals, but they talk about being in the now, enjoying the journey, etc. And most of you might be familiar with that. The thing that I want to bring from there is that it takes a fundamentally different kind of mind to be able to enjoy the journey, create a different experience of life, and also get to the goals that you get to. It won't, it means that you are content with the way things are right now. You're content with who you are right now, and you're able to go for bigger, more complexity. I'll tell you, let me illustrate by example, because this can seem quite abstract. So, when I came into coaching, right, when I started off as a coach, I helped people, and I help people get promotions. I help people get roles that they didn't imagine that they got. I help people become more confident. So it was good, but then it was always like something was missing, right? It was always about the next thing and the next thing. Like, the support is, having somebody support you is good, like me supporting my clients, it's good. But once they achieve the goal, then again it's the same pattern repeating, right? So um, most people would come, and the question will be like, how do I become better? How do I become better? And then the thing that we are trained on is that your client is inherently brilliant, resourceful, and smart, and then they need to tap into that resourcefulness, and you are helping them do that. So the coaching was not so much about advice or mentoring, but it's more about developing a person. But with like multi-month contracts also, I was not able to put my finger on what it was that was missing in the way I helped people. So uh, then I came across, um, let me see, there's a thing I want to talk about before. Yes, the irony was also that helping people achieve a goal became my goal, right? Like if my client achieves a particular goal, uh, I like that would make me happy, and let's say they didn't achieve a goal, that would make me sad, together with them. So then for me again, like the irony is that I have to become a better version of myself. I need to acquire skills, or that I am lacking something that people are not able to achieve their goals. That kind of makes sense in a way, in the sense that of course I need mastery in my skills so that I can best support my client. But also the state of mind that I am is that, okay, once I do this course, or once I'm able to achieve this certification or this level of mastery, then I'll be happy, and then I can help my clients get to more goals. So I am on that treadmill myself, right? And it's no different from when I was not a coach. I was a software engineer at Microsoft, and the whole view was about how do I get the next promotion. Once I got it, then how do I get the next promotion? Then once I got it, okay, how do I, like, it continues, right? But the fundamental experience of life is of suffering, a little bit of suffering. I wouldn't say like, oh, I was like this depressed, anxious person, but there is some of that included, right? When you have a big goal. So then I learned a developmental model that wow, let me say that again. Okay, that makes transformation necessary. I was trying to say something, I'm not able to, but okay. So that means you fundamentally change the way you think without effort. Like if somebody says, okay, it's your problem is your mindset, you need to change your mindset. It's like, okay, I need to change my mindset, and then this is something that I should do. Like there is effort in that, right? This is about effort, like changing the way you relate to a thing, that makes it effortless, right? So it's about creating a different mind. It's not about the goal, it's not about the skill, it's about the mind. It's about how do you relate to yourself, how do you relate to other people, how do you relate to reality. Changing that relationship helps you be more content now, and also handle more scope and complexity. That is the developmental model. And it's completely different from self improvement, in the sense that you don't come from a stance of I lack something, but you come from the stance of I'm very happy as things are, I am content, but there is also a desire to achieve more. There is also a thing I see that can be different, and there is also uh, a different way that I want to be, as in like my identity. So I came across this developmental model, and I was like, yes, this is the thing I want to be helping people with. I don't want to be helping people with just this goal, but once we help someone to get to that goal, you kind of change the way you approach any goal. So then you can take on a bigger goal next time. It's not the same one. So this is not improvement, but this is development. And this is really the idea that I got from working with spiritual teachers and taking up practices. Kind of marries the Eastern wisdom and professional development. So I should have silenced my headphone. Okay, so when you develop a different kind of mind, you can like kind of handle whatever life throws at you, because there is very little in our control, but also do more. And you can clearly see I'm so passionate about this because it's kind of magic. I have gone through multiple transformations in this sense, and the end is that the experience of life is of freedom, freedom from certain patterns that we have, and free like more lightness and more um, it's like more of myself. Like even though my public speaking skills are not great, or my writing skills are not, up to the mark that I want them to be, I am still very comfortable with what is happening. And at the same time, I can take on more, I can do more, I can still have let's say like in have goals for my business, have goals to pursue mastery in certain skills, but I can just be more authentically me. And I feel like there's a whole movement now, maybe in the US and everywhere, towards more of this kind of state. So it's like more like freedom and liberation, and like on being on the path to enlightenment. And like you don't have to be on the path of enlightenment, but what I'm proposing here is that don't try to improve yourself, try to develop yourself, like develop a different kind of mind. And that's what essentially like Buddhism is also teaching, with a meditation and observing your mind, etc., etc. So okay, how do we achieve this? There are many different paths, many different ways of doing this. There are, I don't know, like so many different spiritual traditions. There are many different traditions within Buddhism as well. But the there's like a map I want to give in terms of like what I observed happens for everyone, whichever path they pursue, whether that's even just leadership development, or whether that is, developmental therapy, or whether that is just taking up and working, taking up meditation or working with a teacher. So this map has been inspired from Robert Kegan's work. He's a Harvard developmental psychologist, and he talks about 5 stages of development of human mind. The first 2 stages are mostly based in childhood. First is like, well, you know how kids can't see themselves different from, hmm, let me kind of, okay, the point I'm missing here is that it's how you make sense of the world that changes, that develops as you grow up, right? Imagine a toddler or a kid who would see that, who the way the world makes sense to them is that whatever I see, everybody else sees. Like there is no me and the other perception. So for example, if I don't know if you have been around kids, but like, if my daughter, she would think that there is this toy that, like when she sees that it exists, it's in one room, and only she knows it, she thinks that I know it too. So this is happening until she was 3 or 4, and then she reached, maybe she's still in the transition, and then there is the next level where they're able to tell that, okay, that person knows differently than me. So there is like, they're able to make this uh, leap where they know that, okay, their perception is different from my perception, and I have a different perception. Like there is a person called me. And then so this is these are like two stages, and I just briefly explain that to tell you that there is a development that happens, and then this does not stop when we are adults. But most people plateau at stage 3, which is called the socialized mind, where we take perspectives from everybody and try to choose um perspectives based on external. So we are kind of blending with society, right? So most people are here, like 75% of adult population is here. But what happens is when you handle more complexity, you start to question, you know, okay, what is my voice? Why am I people pleasing? Why why do I seek external validation? Why do I do the thing that I do? Why do I believe this certain kind of thing? That's I think right now a lot of people are in this stage, with more self-awareness, right, with more feedback coming from our surroundings. So when you start questioning that, that means you you are in transition from developing from 75% of the adult population, handling more complexity from there comes with um, like a few transformations are there next for you, so you will be able to handle more complexity. So I said that we'll cover 3 transformation levels for becoming a strong leader. So the first one is about so when you reach the stage and when you're like questioning what why do I do this thing, right? For example, when I was a new coach, and when I started working with my spiritual teacher, I I thought I was like pretty confident person, and um, I mean, there are things in life I was not satisfied with. There are things that I was absolutely, anxious, depressed about, and there are things that are fairly fine, and there are things I'm really happy about. Right? Like life existed in like all of the spectrum. And then when I started to inquire, I saw that there was a lot of external validation I was seeking, and I did not understand that. And my teacher kept pointing to me that, um, look here, this particular idea, like the way you are reacting, is so that you feel validated from your husband, from your daughter, or from your clients, or from your friends. And I felt like so shitty about myself. Why am I doing that? So then I was like, okay, fine, I'm not going to seek external validation, let me try again. And then again and again I'm like doing the same thing again. It's because it's a developmental milestone, as she said, that you are recognizing that you have externalized the world to be your internal self. As in, we have a framework of what success or failure looks like, and everything about that is memetic. As in, it comes from external world. It comes from somebody else's idea of what success is. It comes from somebody else's idea about what failure is. It's not coming from like this internal value system, or I am not able to decide for myself what to do in a particular situation, because I'm always searching for the right thing to do according to the larger portion of society. And it's fine to exist here, but um, there will be like this really internal conflict between um, when there is a tough decision to make. So I'm trying to think of an example. Yes, I got a really good example. Let's see. So a few years ago, I decided that I'll be a vegan. Okay, and at that time, uh, I said, fine. You know, it's not good to harm animals, um, and I'll stop eating non-vegetarian food completely, and I'll stop buying leather handbags, etc., etc. And I was thinking that I made that decision for myself, and then later realized that I became a vegan because, um, though there is like an internal value that I don't want to harm people, but sneakily there is a thing that it's the right thing to do. It's a good thing to be a vegan. And who says so? From like a multitude of ideas I have heard in various settings, and then I came to that decision. So I modify my idea of what a good person is in terms of, uh, like, I modify my idea of what is good for my body because of the external. So this is good. So anyway, I became vegan, and then I convinced myself, I rationalized based on that, that okay, I find more mental clarity, more, whatever, my body feels good, great. This is the right thing to do. I made the right decision, and then that becomes like a rule in my mind. Like, this is the best thing, and everybody should do that. Though I was flexible with others, that okay, you can eat whatever you want, but I'm a vegan and I'm not budging. The problem with this is that it's not, it's a, I do it because it's the right thing to do. And you can observe most people have similar thing when you extend that metaphor to other places. Like, what's the right thing for a promotion? What is the right thing I need to do to make my product successful? What is the right thing to do so that I get a healthy body? Like, the society is flooded with so many ideas. Somebody says keto is the right thing. Somebody says veganism. Somebody says that. Somebody says this. There are like so many ideas, and everybody is convinced why that is the right thing. And then they are kind of spreading the message in the society, and then we are absorbing those messages, right? But where is our voice? What does our body really need? What is the, like, if you take away all the rules, what is the thing that actually feels healthy for each of us? So that's the level of transformation at this, at the first stage, which is shifting your perspective from external to internal, like finding that voice. And people who are in leadership for a long time, like who handle complex projects, who get into, I don't know, equivalent of L7, L8, or who become VPs, they develop this internal voice because of all the problems they handle, and because of going through these internal conflicts of what is the right thing, what's not, and taking tough decisions again and again. So that's like they develop that naturally. But for rest of us, it's not available easily. um, and this is where like people get stuck. Okay, why am I not able to crack the executive ceiling? Because why does my manager keep saying that I need to be more assertive, or I need to understand what to say, I need to speak up? This is the transformation that's lacking. So that's level one. Shift your perspective from external to an internal, and develop an internal voice, internal compass. So move from the societal norms to an internal compass. And The one of the funny things is this is against self improvement, because all the ideas of how to improve yourself, how to help yourself, are again external. Like so many, the entire self help book section is giving you ideas about what is a better thing to do. You can follow that, but uh, again, that's like an external idea. It's not developing your internal voice. So pursuing self-help is actually anti-developmental to this path. Okay, this path of handling more complexity. I'm not saying don't read self-help books at all. I read some books, and I love certain ideas. um, and books can help you find your internal values and kind of adjust that. But what I'm saying is relying on help from outside, relying on advice, mentorship, or ideas from outside is anti-developmental to this transformation. So the next level uh, transformation is about holding multiple perspectives simultaneously. And the result of that, okay, so I forgot to tell the result of the first one. The result is that when you have a strong internal voice, it shows. It's very evident to other people in the way you make decisions, in the way you walk, in the way you talk, in like the way you act. And people call that executive presence. I think that's kind of my idea of executive presence. So then there is the level 2 transformation, where you develop so that you hold multiple perspectives simultaneously. We are by default, we are able to hold only one perspective at a time. As in, we are able to hold only one belief system at a time. So, for example, with the veganism example, right? When I was a vegan, let's say I chose veganism because of my internal compass, because it's not, I didn't choose it because of external ideas. For example, let's say that. Um, then it's based on a belief system, and I am not able to hold another belief system that, let's say, keto diet, or what's the other one, the paleo diet would be good for me as well, because I'm like super convinced. And then I'm also convinced it's the right thing to do. And for everyone who I interact with, there is kind of like this tendency to say, I had this tendency that whenever people would say, "Hey, I'm facing this problem," and I'd be like, "Well, have you tried veganism?" There's that tendency. So there's a tendency to kind of like put our belief system forward, right? People who author books have to be at this stage. They have to have a very strong belief system to be able to, argue for that belief system and make a case. And me, at a meta level, me presenting this model and this path is also coming from a belief system saying that this gives you the best results, right? uh, and I was at this place for so long, and I was like, okay, this is the right thing to do. I won't be able to, like at this place, I won't be able to handle two conflicting viewpoints, right? It's like using a hammer for every kind of job. The impact from this place is very limited by the belief system itself. If I believe that I can get money only if I work hard, I will always find myself choosing jobs where there is hard work, jobs which reward hard work with more money, right? Then the impact is that I'll always have a life where I'm working hard towards more money. The option of working less or doing an easy job and having more money is not available to me because I am just locked into this belief system. Like those two seem like opposite ideas. Hard work and having a lot of money, they're like conflicting ideas. And I'm not able to hold that both of these together is possible. And if you talk to and you will see this in people who argue for one kind of um, politician, or people who argue for um, like Eastern culture versus Western culture, or wokeism versus anti wokeism. Like you'll see this in the society so much, right? So the transformation at this level allows for a move from either or, like this or this belief system or this belief system, versus both and, as in I can hold both of them together. Uh, so this came up in one of my coaching conversations where um, my client was talking about um, I don't know how to do a certain performance review, because like what I am told to do is very strategic, but I don't think it's fair. So these are like two opposite things. But if you're able to make this transformation from to hold multiple perspectives simultaneously, you'll be able to arrive at a solution where you can choose something which is both strategic and fair. It seems crazy to the person who is not able to do this, that that's possible. um, but it is possible. It requires a fundamentally different kind of mind. Like I said, you see how like acquiring more skills is not the answer to developing this kind of perspective, right? So people maximizing profits and maximizing employee well-being seem like two different things, two conflicting things for many people, for many leaders and people who are led, as in like if you're part of an organization and it seems like the leader is choosing one or the other, that means they are stuck in either or. What if the leader has an ability to prioritize both together and make it possible in the organization that they can maximize profits while ensuring well-being? I think Satya Nadella did this a little bit when he took over Microsoft. I think Microsoft is still, I don't know about like some teams, but the well-being there and like the way they took care of employees, I think was pretty good when I was there, at least around 3 to 4 years ago. Now a lot of companies did that, and now people, they are laying people off. So I don't know, I can't speak for how much that is, the well-being is still a priority. But the leaders who are able to kind of hold like conflicting truths together will be able to achieve things that seem impossible. And the more relatable example is that people argue for, well, if I want to be a VP, if I want to be an executive, I'll have to work more hours. And if I want a fast career development, I have to work more hours. But what if it was possible that you can be on a fast development career development path and you work fewer hours? What would that require of you? It requires a transformation, to change the kind of mind, to change the way you listen, to change the way you act or speak. So that's level 2. And Kegan, Robert Kegan, says that this is the, when you're able to hold that is stage 5, which is a self-transforming mind. It requires that you question what is the identity that you're taking on. um, I'm checking in with myself if I want to go more into that. Okay, I'll go into that a little bit. Uh, which is basically the belief system is held in place by a certain identity. I am an introvert, and that is why I'm not able to network. When I see people, I have certain social anxiety. Like that social anxiety, the belief that I'm an introvert, and my whole environment is like all tied together into like one big ball of wax to so to speak. So when you undergo this transformation, you kind of pick that apart and question your identity and change your not just change your identity, but kind of like help you not have that belief system so sticky. So in my case, um, I no longer believe that one like veganism is the best thing for me, because that's limiting. I wouldn't be able to experiment and see what's actually right for my body. So then we have to like get over the idea of the right versus wrong, the good versus bad. This is good, this is bad, or this is fair, this is unfair, to be able to make this transformation. And most people kind of worry that how does that help? um, like the society will, like I'll be an annoying person if I do that. It doesn't mean, like, when you transcend good and bad, it doesn't mean you'll be the worst person on the planet. You'll just, like, there will be certain people who will not like you, there'll be certain people who will like you, but your impact is more. Your impact is basically on what you want to create, and that things that look impossible. Okay, then level 3 transformation is about holding multiple identities at the same time. So the second level 2 transformation, I said, becoming a self transforming leader, ensures that, um, kind of enables, not ensures, enables you to bring a big vision to reality that you deeply, deeply desire. That seems almost slightly delusional. Think Elon Musk, think Jeff Bezos sending people to space. Think Satya Nadella taking Microsoft, the company which was almost like the reputation is gone. People thought it's going to crash under the leadership of Steve Ballmer. He kind of turned that around. So, like leaders, such leaders have really big visions that seem almost delusional, impossible. If you're able to hold multiple perspectives and get over your own judgment, you can bring such visions to reality and lead people from there. So now the third level of transformation is holding multiple identities at the same time. Now this is going beyond the self-transforming leader stage into what spiritual traditions talk about. The idea of no self from Buddhism, or the idea of you being one consciousness, the idea of everything like interconnected and being one, like the personal identity kind of becomes loose. So the result is of this next level transformation is about being in the flow state and like kind of actually having fun leading like a complex organization, expanding your scope even more, not just like this vision for this particular organization, but what I'm doing enables 10 or 100 other big visions that can come into the future. So it's almost about thinking about the future of humanity, future of technology, future of like your own future maybe. It's about thinking about like evolution of your consciousness, evolution in general for humanity, and not just like at a personal level. This transformation requires that you confront your identity, you confront things that you thought you were. I won't say that I made this transformation at all, or like I had this taste of this transformation and I'm still like in the stage of this, and I don't think there is like a full end to it according to my teacher. The first taste of this transformation happened when I was in conversation with my coach, and we were talking about um, some issue, I don't even remember. And he was like, okay, what's bothering you about that? And I'm like, well, I don't want to be selfish. So then we kind of went on an inquiry where I saw that I have designed my entire world about not causing harm to anyone, not being selfish, not being like unreliable, right? So I'm like my subconscious mind is so stuck. Like for whatever reason, I got these ideas. But the thing is that when I actually saw that n- being a human means that I am unreliable. Being a human means that I make selfish choices. Even just in my relationship with my daughter or with my husband, I am selfish sometimes. I am harmful. Like the things I think are the best thing might actually be harmful. I am sometimes like totally unreliable. I skip deadline, like certain things I said I will do. It and I can always try to not have that behavior. I can always try to change that and optimize for general good of everyone, but I can never guarantee that I am not selfish. My identity is kind of um, not stuck on that, right? Then suddenly my mind opened up, and I'm like, yeah, that is true. Like I can just I don't need to optimize everything for being the best person in the world according to my judgment. So then I can decide to be whoever I want to be. So it's about shape shifting yourself. It's kind of very abstract and a little hard to define as well. But the when you achieve this kind, like when you're on the path of this transformation, you kind of are shape shifting. You choose your identity to create the world you want. You are in you're able to be interconnected and in deep partnership with people. You stop seeing things as disconnected, and you kind of realize like everything is non-dual, as in um, like everything is kind of one. It's a very bad description. If you pursue like a particular spiritual path, like a especially non-dual path, you would have heard descriptions of this. So you'll see that these transformations are not about believing a different way or have acquiring a different belief system. It's about it's not about adding knowledge, it's not about adding skills. It's about changing the way you make sense of things, changing your mind um, to perceive differently, to process differently, and to output differently. And it's about taking the largest perspective. Now, a few this okay, the benefit is that you are able to take on more scope and also be more content with the things are more content with who you are. It like there is consistent sense of lack that we have that kind of like loses its hold on us as we make these transformations, or at least that's what I experienced, and that is kind of the promise of transformation as well. um, Uncertainty is like you have more capacity for complexity, uncertainty. You have more capacity for going into the unknown again and again. You have more capacity for dreaming up a big vision and implementing and executing it. You have capacity to deal with people exactly as they show up to be, like not be annoyed, frustrated, angry at them all the time. um, so yeah, like overall that's kind of what my experience has been, and this is the map. And I propose that creating this third level of mind, which is where you can hold multiple identities, like going to that stage is personal development for me. um, let's see, what else do I want to talk about. I hope we still have people watching. Yes, thank you for sticking towards this. Yeah, the caveats. The first caveat is that when you make these transformations, the goal is not happiness. Like I said, if I do X, I'll be happy. Like we are going away from that idea completely. It's about taking more of reality, taking more scope, and finding lightness and freedom in the moment. So that lightness that I'm talking about is kind of the baseline. It's not like happiness sadness kind of things. It's about like having the capacity to go to that baseline again and again. So what this means is that if you are able to make these transformations, it doesn't mean that emotions will disappear. I think that's a fundamental misunderstanding people have about like being on a path of liberation or enlightenment, is that I won't have emotions anymore. No, there will be emotions, but your relationship to emotions changes. And well, there will be intense emotions as well, but the way you like they'll reduce first of all. Like if you're a person who gets angry a lot, that will reduce quite drastically, but it doesn't mean that anger won't show up at all. Like I was a person who would get sad a lot when something happens. That reduced a lot for me. Like I'm not that sad as I used to get triggered as. Like if somebody says something very judgmental, I would be really hurt. Like, and somebody said to me, um, well, you don't create a positive environment. uh, or somebody said you are doing this totally wrong, I can't understand you, or whatever. We keep getting like very critical feedback all the time. Whenever I had this critical feedback, that would really hurt me, and I would feel very sad, and it would like I would just completely be awashed and overwhelmed with emotion. That reduced for me as I made these transformations. But there are still times when I feel sad, when there is grief, when there is heartbreak, when there is intense happiness. The relationship to it is something that we can change. As in, emotion is not positive or negative, emotion is not good or bad. It's part of being human. So then what that does is it takes the significance away from emotion. Our whole survival system is kind of built around avoiding pain, avoiding grief, and avoiding like the things that you intensely felt during childhood. And when you make these transformations, you kind of have to experience that, and then also come into confrontation with the reality that being a human means experiencing emotions, experiencing grief at the loss of a thing I really wanted, or at the loss of a loved one, but the experience of that kind of changes. We are no more managing and controlling our world to not experience a certain emotion. So more becomes available. Um, let's see, that's the first caveat, is that emotions don't go away, but they become less significant. But and also you're not managing, controlling all of them, and your relationship to experiencing emotions changes, and they become kind of less impactful over time. I think um, one of the things my teacher says is, and I'm trying to digest a lot and trying to understand, is stop seeing emotion as good or bad. Like, stop seeing anxiety as good or bad. And I'm like, okay, how do I do that? How do I like enjoy an emotion? Like, how do I enjoy grief? How do I enjoy sadness? But that's like the ultimate teaching. when you're when you're able to change your mind, like deconstruct certain structures in your mind, you can really be at peace with whatever happens. No matter what happens, you can be at peace with that. So that's the caveat about emotions. Let me see, I noted these caveats down someplace. I don't find it. Okay, anyway. And I think this kind of relationship is essential to making the stage 3 transformation, which is holding multiple identities together. Uh, so that's one thing. What else? And like I said before, growth, like, it's not free to be able to transform this way, because you will come to face the reality that no matter what you do, some people will not like you, and some people um, will think you're amazing. You'll see that in certain leadership, right? There are, like, if, say, for company profits, a leader lays off these many people, of course a lot of people are going to hate them. uh, but at that level of leadership, maybe it makes sense to lay off people, right? And intellectually we can get it. But being in that position and being able to take the fact that, okay, I am harming these many people, or I am, like, my decisions have this kind of consequence, it's very hard to do. I think if you are kind of holding one sort of belief system. And that's why there is so much of executive coaching and leadership support these days, because the decisions that we have to make become like tougher and tougher and tougher, because there is no one good consequence sometimes to a decision. um, that's the nature of complexity. Now, by saying this, I'm not saying that laying off people is the right thing, is the best thing, or I support that. My point is that there are decisions as a leader, if you want to make something happen, that you need to take, that seem really wrong, and they may be judged as bad by the society. But it's the nature of reality and complexity. Being a self transforming leader uh, means that uh, you're able to handle such complexity and not die of misery, maybe, or not like quit and say, screw all this, I'm not ever going to do such a thing, or become like really depressed and anxious. So I think this kind of transformation is almost necessary to be able to handle that much of complexity. uh, yeah, I think that's all I will say for today. And I am launching. I feel like pretty. I feel pretty like there's a tinge of sadness that I'm saying this, because we just talked about layoffs, right? There are so many people who got laid off, and they're kind of in transition, and it's a really challenging time for them. And then also the reality that some people made that decision, that the current tech industry is like that. So that brought a little bit of sadness, and I'm like, I don't know what to say next. So all right, I'll do a quick recap. The points that I'm making is that don't pursue self improvement, because it's a never ending loop. Like if you think that I'll be happy when I get to X, that's like deferring happiness. So pursue personal development, pursue transformation. And second thing is to, like, if you are a person who is just like realizing that, oh, I'm a people pleaser, I seek a lot of external validation, and I can't help how I'm reacting, even though I realize that that's not the best way to react. The first thing to do is find your internal voice, and find where external um, uh, memes that are influencing how you behave, right? That's the second. And the third takeaway I would say is that if you're able to if you're mostly able to kind of go after what you want, you don't kind of make your decisions based on what other people, like external ideas. You mostly have your internal voice and an internal compass. The next thing for you is to try to hold conflicting perspectives at the same time. That's the level 2 that I talked about. So if you work with a coach, or if you're working with a teacher, maybe that's something that you want to talk about, like, how do I hold conflicting truths together? Like, that might be a focus to look on. Like, how can I be strategic and fair? How can I create a high performing culture, um, and a culture where everybody values emotions, or is generally a nice person? How can I have a fast career path, make a lot of money, and work fewer hours? So, like, try to see how you can hold conflicting ideologies, conflicting truths together. And the third level is holding, like, transcending your identity, your idea of self. And it's very difficult for me to say how to achieve that, because there is a whole, like, lot of methods to do this. And I personally use one or two of these methods to guide people. It's hard to kind of tell, okay, do this. There are many, many ways, many, many traditions. So work with a teacher, work with a coach, work with someone to be able to get to a place where you transcend, like, the stuck identity that we all seem to have. That will enable you to get more complex, handle more complexity, get more scope, and, like, really bring your vision to reality. um, so those are the takeaways that I would summarize for today. And thank you for hanging out. Thank you for spending your lunch hour with me, and kind of taking these ideas. So if you want more support on any of this, of course, feel free to reach out. And if you have any reactions, if you have any ideas on how to present this content better, because I'm always like, all of this seems like so abstract, and I've been forever trying to explain this stuff without losing people. But if you have any ideas on that, please reach out. And if you just want to connect anyway, please reach out. There is something that I'm going to be launching about how to create a self-transforming mind, which is the third level that I talked about. And if you're interested in such kind of transformation, reach out as well. All right. Have a wonderful Friday and a wonderful weekend. I'll see you at this same time next week. Bye.